It all started with a huge burst of good news and new buying power entering into the crypto world. But then we also noted the fact that some of these coins did suck out liquidity. And yeah, maybe they used some of that to go back in for these assets. But the real question which you should be answering now is the real market. Especially when you look at multiple market, you kind of get to see, okay, what's happening in here? Why is that monthly candle? I mean, a monthly candle looking like this. You have to think about this. This is Indian banking system, yeah? The bank nifty. It's showing you the bank stocks in this country is slowing down. Now, at that point, the easy question is, okay, fine. What's the history? You zoom out to see how deep it can go. So you go back like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and you see, okay, when it drops, it does drop like this. That's the history. So there's a lot of room to the downside to reach there. Fine. You want to pick biggest banks, small banks, all of them looking almost similar. Some of them are even pushing lower. So the banking side is taking a hit in multiple countries. While the crypto market is not doing much, not pushing lower, holding the ground. Now there is one chart in crypto which looks absolutely bullish. When you do compare it with the total crypto market and the altcoin market, there is something for us. Welcome to the scientific investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Now, while we go into crypto and look at what it's doing, we should also be looking at what it is being traded against, the majority. Yeah, the USDC, the USDT, dollar, basically. Now we are watching, there was one selling pressure which came in, which was near the resistance, and then you went back up. Fine. Now you're retesting that range, which is good actually. If you're bullish on dollar, you're looking at this saying, whoa, that looks attractive, the ABC here, and then this should go up. Question which we should try to answer is, while that ABC plays out, what is other assets doing? This is gold. It's showing you I'm trying to push back higher. We go on a weekly. We see there's no negative divergence. We go on a monthly and we see there is a negative divergence. So the question is, does its history show you the fact that it compromised just after the negative divergence? You have these two peaks in here, negative divergence on a monthly. It did retest that. That retest was a big run up. Now, in such assets with hundreds of years of history, you can actually notice the fact that they have a negative divergence and then retest it before it gets rejected and go for a long consolidation. But the first negative divergence formation and the next high has superior difference. Yeah. Now let's get back into crypto. This is where it's interesting. You pick up the total altcoin market right now, and you kind of have a narrative which is easy. The question is, do we agree on that? So the total crypto market still has some room to the upside on a monthly chart to reach the resistance. But it has not yet started pumping. Now we go on total altcoin market, and you're entering the overbought zone for the first time. So the monthly is really bullish. What we have to look for is these two zones. One is the downside zone and the other one is the recovery zone. So the downside has been just two candles pushed to the downside. Now to go back up and retest that high, It took 5 candles. So who is strong? The sellers who were able to push the market down in 2 months, or the buyers who took 5 months to push back up to retest that range? Because we have seen something similar before. 2 candles to the downside and the retest failed with all these candles to the upside. What happened? You went further to the downside to make a low, after which the price started recovery mode. Perfect. So if we do something similar, what should we be eyeing at? We know there is a trend line. We know there is a support zone. So how low should the price actually go to reach such a support zone? Let's keep this simple so that you guys get to understand what's the basic structure the price action is playing. You have a breakout, you retest that, you go higher. Now, even if you're super bullish on this market, what you're saying is a ABC structure formation. The A, the B, the C, and then the 1, 2, 3, you go crazy. Agreed. Let's look out for that. Let's look for such a big run up in the price. But does that deny the fact that we may have this? No. That's why we go into individual assets. Say we pick up XRP. So say this is XRP, or beloved asset. On a daily chart, this is the formation, right? It's a rising wedge. Now, if a bearish pattern can break bullish, say you only do this micro drop, you come back up, you break higher, that's perfect. I mean, that's the most bullish scenario which we can see. Yeah, we have seen something before like that in 2021. We had formed somewhat a similar pattern where the price then broke to the upside. It was a bearish pattern, but that broke to the upside. Perfect. Are we going to do something similar? This is why we step in to a higher time frame chart to see what we are doing. Yes, we are clearly making a higher high. There is no doubt on that front. We do have 2-point negative divergence right now, which would look like this. Now, can it actually do a double top here? Maybe it can. Maybe it will break to the upside and continue higher. What is the situation? Yeah, when you give both the thought process, people would say, no, you're flip-flopping. No, that's not the idea here. You have negative divergence. That is clear. That's certain. Yeah. 2 candle closes confirm that. Now, before you go down, historically, we have seen the whales trying to capture liquidity. That can be up to 3.5, 3.6, 3.7. I don't know. But we have seen these in bigger assets. Now, while that's happening, we're watching the Bitcoin dominance. It's slowing down at one resistance. So you do look at this and say, okay, 59% is being a resistance. Great. So can we get rejected to the downside? Making this a continuation pattern, which we were waiting for so long. Now, if we do make it a continuation pattern, it's perfect for us. But till we get a confirmation, we will have to wait because the market is choppy, way choppier than anticipated. And look at the buying volume to selling volume and the price action. This kind of gives you a certainty to say, okay, you have a candle which is showing you clearly the fact that the price action is showing bearishness. So that's hanging man. You got a spinning top here, you got a hanging man, both attracting the resistance around 59, which for bulls in altcoin market is a great news. So we step onto a weekly chart. We see the 2 candles, 3 candles to the downside. And now you're taking a long period of time to come back, retest that region. Yeah, capital is moving into the alt market. But we had time before where we had big drops. But then it took so much candles to retest. It consolidated there and went back up. So there was a scenario like that too. So this is why we say we need to know all sides of the history and be prepared. Now, pick up the smart contract side of the equation. You're on a 3-day, you're looking at a pattern, we are still inside that. It's like last 2.5 years, you're playing inside this equation. You look at a daily chart, we haven't done much for the last few days, right? You put 3-day chart, it's clear, like, there's no volatility in the market. But these muted days usually push to the edge and start a volatile day. Whether that volatility is to the downside, like the 3-day and weekly is showing, or it goes with the monthly to the upside, you should be prepared. What if it's to the downside? Are you ready to buy low? What if it's to the upside? Do you really have units to sell? Like the macro on our altcoin market would look like this, which looks very promising. You're not trying to break through the volume range of 2021. And in few assets, we already saw that they broke the 2021 highs. So there's a lot happening in this front. We are watching zero capital gain tax for US-based crypto. That is huge, because now you know XRP, XLM, HBAT, Solana, there's a lot of them. Investors would like to put in them because it's zero tax. So they are willing to buy and hold long for longer term here because they'll not be taxed. And it's not only retail. It will also be the institutions, the banks, the organizations. But the question is, who is searching more about crypto? Who's trying to enter into crypto more? And that is exactly where you should be looking at clear things. The clarity is important there. If we consolidate like back in this time, we may actually get a choppy region because things are changing very quickly. The news cycle is coming in very hard, but the market is not taking it. You go in looking at a short-term chart to see what exactly is happening. Are we pushing to the upside? Are we pushing to the downside? Right now, where is the momentum? You put it on a Heikin Ashi. We can count the number of candles to the upside versus the number of candles to the downside. That's your direction. You had 3 candles here, 1 candle to the red. Upside was the direction. You followed it. Now you have shifted that. You have 4 candles to the downside, 3 to the upside, which was muted. So obviously, the micro direction is to the downside. You pick a 12-hour chart and it's still showing you I'm flip-flopping. I'm not moving. Yeah, the red, the green, the red. It's not moving up or down much. You go to the daily, it shows you I'm still hanging on to the green candles. I would like to push higher like this. So the momentum-based chart is still on your side saying I need to see another push to the upside. Now, all of this needs to be considered. At the top of the market, there is going to be a lot of uncertainty. There's going to be a lot of choppy moves before you see a bigger drop. Now, there can be bigger drops like this. You move up first and then drop. There can be consolidative ranges like this. You have one top, you have another top, you go for one bottom, then you go for another one. And that range was not small. That's a 21% drop. Now again, the market was repeating that number for some reason, and then there was a wash off, long wick. Now if you come back up with the candle close, you're really close, 25%, not 30. But the whales did push it lower to 32, 33% to the downside. What are they intending here? When the majority is still believing that the all-time highs is here and you are about to see the next big leg to the upside, what do you think is the whales preparing for us? If they are looking at something and they're showing you there is going to be a MACD cross to the upside and we're waiting for that, what if the MACD just gets rejected like this. We had a region here. Yeah, the MACD just got rejected there, and the price action went to the downside. You can see what happened there. Yeah, the local drop at that time in Bitcoin was 25%, which again was the average fluctuation. It's nothing big, it's just the average. Now, the only question is, in a bull market, the bear market starts in a different format. How? It just changes from higher high to lower low. So your low is here. If you put this on a line chart and put it on a monthly, it is very clear and certain that you're following a trend. It's easy to draw on a line chart. You're doing this. The moment you break this is where people would realize, oh, it's done. But that's at $60,000. But that Bitcoin has to drop 45% or more. And that is where the retail would recognize, oh, there is something wrong. But there won't be much of a use once you recognize it at that point. This is why you'll have to go into a short term compared to the weekly or monthly to recognize the trend. You had this, which was not invalidated. You had this before, which was not invalidated. You had this, which was not invalidated. Now you have this, which is not yet invalidated. So you have formed all these regions. Yeah. So if you do invalidate that, there is something which you will have to think about. And especially if you enter this zone, there is something more which you'll have to think about, because the trend line which you will have to follow for next few weeks is this. If it come back down to that trend line, it's going to be very hard. Now remember one thing. You put the chart into a candlestick and you look at it here. This is what I'm saying. When the price was going up, yeah, when the price was still going up at this point, what do you think is the majority calling out on YouTube or anywhere? Because the price was still going up, what would have been that decision which the majority was selling to you? This is why I say you go back, look at these key regions and ask the question, who was saying what? This is that point. Yeah, you come back into the chart, you pick up Bitcoin and see what the price was at the local top, 73,285. This now which you're seeing is after the candle close. So you actually saw 71. Now at the top, 73. What did I say here? That was 73,100. I was saying I expect this to come back down before we bounce. Now look at this. We did come back down. Now it was longer than what I expected. I was expecting a short-term drop and then a bounce, but it took way more time than I anticipated. Time-based slaps. The market does slap me. But watch this. What if the majority is still saying it's going to go up? Just like this portion. You have to think and you have to decide. But if you want help, you have the SR family here. You can use the link down in the description to reach Patreon. And make sure you get to see all the charts and do the one-on-one sessions to understand how things work and how you should make decisions. So guys, if you received value, smash that like button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.